I think I know why you mad. I think I
Definitely
get it.
pissed. Definitely pissed.
Yikes. Well, you know what? I got Moon Knight pulled up already, so let's just go ahead and start off with Moon Knight.
Sure.
Episode 3, The Friendly Type. So before we start, I realized that the person that I saw in episode 1 with the glass in his foot was actually Ethan Hawke's character, not Moon Knight, not Marc or not Steven. It was Ethan Hawke's character. So I'm interested to see how that's going to carry out. And in fact, I think in some of the scenes in this episode, I saw him and like heard glass as he was walking. I'm still confused as to what that was.
Yeah.
Also, recognize on our, I think it was episode 1 or episode 2 review, he mentioned that the people who believe in the God see the supernatural things. At least maybe, I don't know if that was his thought about why people can't see what's going on, or maybe, I don't know if he was confirming that or what.
The people who believe in the God can see the supernatural things. So, okay, let's move on. Let's move on. It feels like a pretty lazy excuse, but all right.
Okay, just throwing that out there. Maybe that could have been a possibility.
Yeah, sure. But then they're still tangible enough to affect people who don't believe in them. Because if you remember, old girl started fighting the wolf that Steven was fighting as well. She couldn't see him, but she connected. So they're tangible enough to attack a non-believer, but they just can't see them. Again, so now we're back to random people getting drugged throughout the air or getting their blood drawn from seemingly nothing. You know what I mean? It's a bit of a cop-out, but I digress. Let's move on.
Just throwing that out there. So we start this episode with Layla speaking with who apparently is her mother, who is printing her what seems to be a fake passport. Mm-hmm. She's venting about the situation with Steve and Marc and explaining why she takes these ancient relics. Basically, she takes them from the people who essentially stole them, and she's bringing it back to the people who rightfully own them. Mm-hmm. Or so she says. So what do you think about that little passport scene there?
First of all, it is easy as hell to forge a passport. I wish I would have known, huh? Would have helped out. But yeah, no, she seems kind of is giving off Carly Morgenthau a little bit, fighting the power kind of thing.
Carly Morgenthau was the big bad though, so.
Well, yeah, no, obviously not to the extent that Carly Morgenthau was willing to go, but in the terms of taking from the wealthy or taking from the establishment and giving back to the people, that kind of thing, the whole Robin Hood arc. Yeah. So it's something that we've seen. Too bad Carly Morgenthau is. Maybe we could have seen something down the line, but I guess that wasn't in the cards. But I think it ultimately lines up with what Khonshu looks for in an avatar as well. So I think that was an interesting tidbit to drop to tell her what her motivations were for stealing,
Yeah.
Right. Like, cause that very easily could be misinterpreted by Khonshu, by your boy, by Arthur with the scales as you taking advantage of the innocent.
Yeah.
Right. So it goes back to the kind of the theme of the show so far, at least is intention or potential for evil, that kind of thing. So just a good little note there about her I guess her intent or what she's actually after, why she's going and doing these heists with Marc and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would agree. Marc Spector is doing parkour essentially through Egypt. And then he sees a guy get stabbed in the stomach. Apparently, this is the person that Marc was coming
Chasing.
to see.
Yeah.
And then apparently that causes a fight between this little mini crew who apparently all know about Arthur Harrow. Marc must be a fan of Will Smith because at one point he goes to punch this guy, but then he decides to slap him. I don't know what was up with that. But
I think what's happening with that is that Steven is starting to gain more and more control.
Yeah.
In those phases. So like Steven's not a killer. So whereas, we talked about this in episode 2, Marc Spector is a mercenary. He's a Marine Special Forces. He's a killer. He's a trained weapon. So like he's trying to your clavicle. He's trying to crush your windpipe. He wants you down and down for good. Marc is kind of pulling him back a little bit. I think we'll see some more of it, later on in this episode. But I think that's what it was. It wasn't necessarily him having a change of mind. It's Steven like, nah, don't kill him. Smack him. You know what I'm saying? Pulling back in that instance.
Well, right after that, we see him go to stab a guy in the stomach, and Steven actually shows up in the reflection and basically says, no, you can't do that. And that's when we see another one of those little jump cuts.
Yep.
As that happens, they basically jump cut to him in a taxi cab all of a sudden.
So tired of that. Like we should have been done with this in episode 1, man. It's cheapening the action. We only have 6 episodes, so why they feel that they have the birth to waste action like that, I don't get it. I really don't. It's one of my biggest criticisms of the show. I don't think that should have lasted past the first episode. We shouldn't still be doing that in the middle of the series, taking away valuable action that we could be seeing. It's not like you're overloaded with like it goes back to what we were saying. Like, I want to see human fight scenes. I want to see a human being fight with his hands in his fist because he is an expert at fighting with his hands in his fist. So it doesn't have to be overly CGI. And it seems like the more and more they have the opportunity to show that, the more they're shying away from it, which is a little frustrating.
At least in this case, we're seeing the action get somewhat continued, even if it is interrupted. So obviously, even through the jump cuts, he has to go back, find these guys again, and he starts fighting them.
I guess my thing is, even if that's the case, then what's the point?
Yeah, no, I agree.
If we're just gonna meet back up with those people, right? And we're never gonna see what happened prior to that. What's the point?
Yeah.
At this point, again, only a six episode. If this was 9-10 episodes, that's okay. Well, you're still easing us into it. Even though I think even in a 10 episode series, it would have gotten old fast.
For sure.
We don't need that level of hand holding. We get it now. Now we understand the concept. Let's start showing the changes in real time. That's my opinion on it.
I would agree. Also, super convenient that apparently he meets up with these guys multiple times through these jump cuts. I think that's just hella convenient because honestly, as he's in a cab on his way to an airport, how convenient for him to actually see these guys walking out of a building, for example. A little nuts, I guess. Okay, so basically they meet up one last time on like this big cliff. And that's when Khonshu tells Marc to pick up the kid. Like there's a kid amongst these 3 guys. And he tells them, look, get the kid, get the information. Basically hold him over the cliff. Well, Steven doesn't want any parts of that because obviously Steven is not trying to kill anybody.
Right.
But Marc ends up instead taking this kid to the cliff. The kid ends up saying, praise Amit before he just unalives himself.
Just offs himself, right, yeah.
As opposed to actually telling him the information that he's looking for. So that's the eventual conclusion as to what happened with Marc and these guys.
We're getting very culty. I will say, though, if I can throw out a wild theory, to hang on to and eventually be let down from, it's okay. It's my that's my thing.
This ain't Bel Air, so you got a chance.
So it seems like Arthur does not have a problem keeping a lot of children in his apparatus. I know we talked about in episode 3, in episode 2, I believe it was, he was speaking to a young girl speaking Mandarin, right? And even after we recorded that, I went back and I found out some more stuff on Storm that I wasn't previously hip to. Storm spent some time in Tokyo.
Okay.
Maybe that was a time where she might have picked up some Mandarin and then, hitchhiked with old boy, hitchhiked with Arthur back over to, whatever country they're in. I still don't think we've defined where that is.
One issue with that, though?
What's up?
Tokyo's in Japan and the Chinese speak Mandarin.
Could she not learn Mandarin in Tokyo, though?
I mean, I guess it's possible.
I guess it wouldn't be the thing.
She could learn Mandarin anywhere. at
Yeah,
that
I'm not
point.
gonna lie to you. I didn't know where Mandarin was spoken, so
Mandarin Chinese.
got it.
All right, so Khonshu doesn't want to speak to the gods about Ethan Hawke summoning Amit because he doesn't want to risk angering them. Obviously, he's already been, held away from them at this point. Like they don't want really anything to do with him. However, he sends them a sign that they can't ignore, which is basically like some sort of eclipse, which I guess messing with the sky is a big no-no for the gods. And so he sends them that sign. Eventually, Marc gets to meet with the gods. Any thoughts on any of that up to this point?
So I felt like when he gets into the temple, right, and he starts meeting with the gods, I guess I don't know why I expected it, but I thought that would have been a good opportunity to introduce Bast. I mean, we're talking about Egyptian gods. We're at the tip of Africa. There's a deity, due south, in the heart of Africa.
I would have thought it would happen, but
I would have
whatever.
thought that would have been, especially because there was a black woman deity on the god council. I don't think, did they say the names? Did they say like who she was?
They said who the one like darker girl who her god was. I didn't catch it though. But everybody else, I don't
You're
think they
talking
actually
about
said.
the girl initially when he walked in, the first one to start talking to Marc. Yeah.
She said who she was the avatar for, but I don't know that anybody else mentioned who they were the avatar for.
Right. So I mean, could be Bast.
Yeah.
She did not mention who she was.
I think she mentioned who she was the avatar for, but the other, I think there was two other ones. They didn't mention who they were avatars for. I don't think
there was the main guy, the bald head guy. There was another guy, and then there was a black woman up there on the stage.
Yeah, I didn't.
Right? Three guys.
Maybe I didn't catch the black woman. And then there was the first girl that he saw.
The first chick. Yeah. There was a black woman up there.
Gotcha. Okay, so then maybe, possibly she.
So that could have been Bast's avatar. I mean, I don't. Maybe. We'll see. But we know it's the deity.
Where's Hanuman in all this? Bast can show up, but not Hanuman.
I don't know, bro. First of all, according to Kaizuko and plenty others, Hanuman is not even the real deity. So we I guess maybe they're trying to retcon and fix it before they destroy M'Baku's legacy.
Maybe.
Who knows? Yeah.
Possibly.
Maybe they're trying to do some course correction before they make M'Baku Black Panther.
Yeah, that's maybe. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
So the gods end up speaking with their avatars before gathering the Ennead. The last time Khonshu met with them, like I said, he was banished, so he plans on being there, but he doesn't really say how he's going to be there. And then, lo and behold, he's actually speaking through Marc to the gods.
No, what did you think? How did you think he was going to show up? He wasn't going to just walk up in there.
Well, I figured he would just probably be there in secrecy. I didn't think he was actually going to literally
or maybe just talk to him.
Marc. Yeah,
like talk, like tell them this.
Yeah, but no, he literally possesses Marc as as Khonshu,
as everyone else in that room is being possessed as well.
Yeah, but I feel like they are used to being possessed at that point, whereas Marc kind of seemed like, oh shit, like this is happening.
The hell is this? Right.
Yeah. And so doing that, he accuses Ethan Hawke of attempting to release Amit, which then the gods literally summon Ethan Hawke, to which he says, look, your boy over here is nutso, and so you might want to look at him as opposed to me looking at, trying to release Amit.
This was very like Big Brother versus Little Brother sitcom-y. It's like, Gerald's been taking my lunch money and beating me up. And then you get them both in the room and Gerald starts saying a whole bunch of irrelevant stuff that ain't got nothing to do with him beating up or stealing lunch money. But then it's so convoluted now that everybody in trouble.
Facts.
And now this one's even worse. It's not everybody in trouble. Khonshu in trouble.
Yeah.
We're not even about to invest. We're not going to go look. What you out there digging for, fam? What you digging? What are you looking for? Let me go talk to your parishioners. Are we going to investigate at all? No, we just gonna have a conversation with both parties and then decide off of that. That's how we do it.
The ironic thing about this conversation is that they decide not to do anything with Ethan Hawke because he has not done anything. Ethan Hawke is out here judging people for things they haven't done yet.
Hey, that's irony, boy. That's next level irony. That is next level irony. You were literally but maybe that's the lesson that he's trying to teach. Like, yeah, I'm literally out here trying to release Amos, right? And because you won't take the initiative preemptively, it's probably gonna happen.
Yeah.
So you should have just listened to me from the jump, and then you would have been able to stop all of this. Now, wouldn't you? You would have been able to stop all this chaos. That's next level irony.
For sure. One of the avatars ends up showing pity to Marc, the girl that he obviously saw when he walked in, and tells him how he still might be able to stop Ethan Hawke, but first he has to find the tomb of Sinfu. Apparently, Sinfu's sarcophagus is on the black market, and so now he has to go through and all of Cairo, essentially, at this point, to find where this sarcophagus might be. Luckily, Layla shows up, and she thinks she might know where it is. So off they go find the sarcophagus. Any thoughts up to this point?
So as they arrive at the place where the sarcophagus is, there's a quick note about her being in Madripoor.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Okay, yeah. I'm like, what business did you have in Madripoor, man?
That's where she meets Homeboy, who might have the sarcophagus. So I thought that was an interesting note.
Homeboy was definitely on it when Marc was gone and missing, for sure.
Yes,
that's why he acted so stank.
1,000%.
Why he acted so stank now that Marc is here. He was like, "Oh, this is my husband." He's like, oh. He might have even handed him the left. I ain't even pay attention. He might have shook him with the left.
Yeah, no, he was definitely on bullshit.
Also, side note, R.I.P. to that guy. He's that was the actor that passed away. He got like a film credit for each of the episodes, but he's only been in episode 3. So it makes me feel like his role got dialed back a lot because of what happened. But yeah, man, just, rest in peace to guy for sure.
For sure.
Be interesting to see what they do with the role, because he was definitely looked like he was, alive at the end of the skirmish. So
yeah. Upon pulling up on Mogart, that's the character's name, they noticed that bro got shooters up here. And not only that, but they think that they might have been tailed by Ethan Hawke's people as well. And then they pull up and basically they try to look at the sarcophagus, try to see if they can't crack the code. Layla can't do it. So obviously she thinks that Steven might be the person for the job.
Why is this so hard for him? I don't understand, bro. When you need to come out and fight people, you come out. When you need smart stuff done, how about let the smart guy handle it?
Apparently he's concerned that Steven will take over and then try to shield the body from him.
Literally the next time he needs to fight, he's going to give it back to you. Y'all been fighting this whole time. He can't fight. The same way that apparently you can't read or decipher or whatever. So just why I don't know. It feels like we're taking a long time to get to the point of, hey, I'll do the brain stuff, you do the fight stuff, and we'll just go back and forth. Like how we haven't come to that conclusion already at this point, how we're still diving into danger, not having this understanding that, hey, if it's something intellectual, I'll pop in. If it's something physical prowess, you got it. It's very easy, I feel like. Because what are you gonna do? You gonna keep him from ever coming back ever again? We know that you can't do that. So the headstrongness of Marc, man, he's very hard-headed. Very hard-headed.
Fair enough. And maybe whenever he needs to talk to a little dime piece in the museum to try to get a date going, he'll summon Marc.
Yeah.
All right. So before he gets the information, Homeboy security pulls up on him and flexes that piece on him. Couldn't be worse timing, because now Ethan Hawke all of a sudden shows up to the shindig. Trust plays a huge part in this little scene here, because now all of a sudden Mogart feels like he can't trust Layla. Layla feels like she can't trust Homeboy, Stephen Marc. And it just seems like everybody just all of a sudden now can't trust each other, all in this one little scene that Ethan Hawke shows up and is just shitting on everybody, essentially. I thought that was
great. Sounds like a fight. So we got human Marc, we got human Layla, but a bunch of human soldiers, right? We got
Yep.
guns, we got horses, we got
Yep.
what's that jousting sticks and whatnot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect scene. Perfect scene to just have some, normal human interaction, right? Punches, kicks, blocks, dips, dives, dodgeball. No.
Not at all.
Nope.
Not at all.
It's not what we got. And this one actually was a little bit worse for me because I'm watching people get stabbed and there's no blood. Stabbed, shot, trampled. Like, I feel like even when they stabbed Marc in the hand, maybe I can go back and look and I'll double check. But I feel like even when they stabbed him in the hand, it was like, okay, I should see a splatter or something.
No, there was none of that whatsoever. Stakes went through his chest multiple times and still nothing happened.
And again, I get that he's still walking because he has the healing protection of the suit, right? But does that mean he doesn't bleed? Or the people that he stabs doesn't bleed? Layla gets into the fight over the sarcophagus with the black security guard and double stabs him in the chest.
Yep. Nothing.
Dry as hell. No, just dry. I'm like, now the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because the conversation that was being had when Moon Knight was coming out is that mold breaking, best MCU show, a definitive turn, a darker sider to the MCU. The action in this movie is no darker than what we saw in Loki or Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I would agree.
It's no darker. In fact,
because of the jump cuts and whatnot, like it feels like there was just more action. At least in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it felt like there was more action. It felt like there was just, I don't know. It felt like it was. I can't think of the word for it, but it just
I will give you that the fight scenes with Sam Wilson were a little bit more enjoyable. Not because I love the Falcon more than Moon Knight, or because of course, Anthony Mackie, but because he was actually fighting. You know what I mean? Like, now he got beat up, but it showed the human side of his character. Moon Knight is a human. Yes, he channels the power of a god, slightly stronger, faster. He's got the cape that he can glide in on, but he's not. I wouldn't necessarily call him superhuman. Like, he's still vulnerable to a degree. So I don't know if they're trying to change that here in the MCU version, but I don't know, man. I just, that scene kind of solidified it for me that they're still not ready to do. They're not ready to take a big step. They ain't ready to have anybody go out there and get their head cut off, or to see somebody get split down in half and have their organs spill out, or having tons and tons of blood splashing anywhere. My problem with that is that these characters that they're starting to unravel have darker pasts. They have darker origin stories. They have darker pursuits.
There's supposed to be a darker tone here.
Exactly, and it just seems like we're still painting with this one size fits all brush in the MCU. It's like, we still got to make it a way for a 40-year-old and a 3-year-old to enjoy it at the same time. And I don't think every single show needs to be like that.
For sure. And it's going to be really weird once Blade comes out, because how are you going to have Blade without a darker tone?
I'm starting to get worried, man. I really am. I'm starting to get worried. I mean, not just because of the fact that I don't think it started shooting yet, and Mahershala Ali is 50. He's old. Not to
he's a little older.
I want to say he's 59. That might be off though.
He is 48.
48, about to be 50.
Yeah.
About to be 50 years old, playing a 28-year-old vampire that never ages.
I mean, he looks good for 48.
No, he's fine. Attractive dude, it's cool. I'm saying, like, let's get on it so that we don't have another repeat of what we're dealing with right now in Black Panther, where, Blade had a great movie, he had a couple cameos, and now all of a sudden we're replacing them with Blade's sister.
Yeah, no, that's a no though.
Mahershala Ali's aging out of the role, so we got to get Blade's bastard son or something. Whatever whatever new trope they they decide to exercise, bringing in Blade. But that's my thing. Like we're getting into areas of Marvel lore that are separate from that of the Avengers for a reason. You know, a Ghost Rider story, a Ghost Rider solo and Ghost Rider on the Avengers is something different. A Blade solo and a Blade on the Avengers team, totally different. Right? A Punisher, totally different. Like I don't think you can do these characters correctly going this route because that's not who they are.
Mm-hmm.
So it does make me a little bit worried for Blade.
For sure. I would agree. Marc and Layla end up having an argument in the car ride after this big old fight because, again, Ethan Hawke then basically gave her all of this distrust because apparently there's something that Marc is still hiding from Layla. And so now she's a little upset about that. They reached
that
their
he
destination.
knew that he got 20 personalities in his noggin this whole time and just ain't tell nobody.
I mean,
probably.
She knows that he has 2 personalities.
He got
she knows there's a
2.
Steven.
Yeah, more than 2.
For sure. And I didn't mention it, but earlier in this episode, there's reason to believe that one is actually probably going to show up, unless Khonshu maybe possessed him. But I don't think that's what it is. I think there's another one that's taking over.
That's taking over. Yeah,
it seems to be a little bit more even violent than Marc.
Mm-hmm.
So just wanted to throw that out there. They reach their destination, and Layla basically wants Marc to summon Ethan, Jesus Christ, wants him to summon Steven because she can't figure out.
Yeah, for the pieces, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Again, why is that so hard, Marc? What are you gonna do? You don't know what you're looking at, bro. You just playing around with stuff now. You wasting time too. The same way Steven was wasting time in that bathroom over there acting like nothing was happening before he get anybody. They have a lot more in common than they realize.
Yeah. The weird thing about this scene is that once he finally summons Steven and Steven's putting all this stuff together, it almost seems as if Layla is starting to get the hots for Steven.
Because Steven is nice. Yeah. Steven listens to me. It's like, nah. But I mean, that probably is what it is. Marc been treating her like a piece of little dog doo-doo that you just scraped off your boot. Basically. And here's Steven all attentive and smart and oh, he's so soft.
Yeah.
Now, will that last or will it grow into something? Probably not. She's Marc's wife. So that would get pretty weird.
All she got to do is rip up the divorce papers and he starts saying Steven.
Well, he really don't have to. Yeah, I was about to say, she really don't even have to do nothing with them divorce papers.
Yeah.
It may make her a little bit more amenable to his situation.
Yeah.
So if that was the reason why he left her, maybe it helps that she likes Steven, you know?
All right. Yeah, I can see that. Khonshu helps Steven and Layla find the constellation that they need. Khonshu tells Steven that when they imprison me, make sure Marc comes back to free me. Once they find the constellation, Khonshu is entombed in stone by the gods. Any thoughts on that little scene where he's moving the sky to try to find this constellation?
To find the constellation, yeah. Just very weird. Powerful enough to reverse the constellations back thousands of years to match what it looked like on a certain night. Not powerful enough to resist being drawn into a statue in an ancient temple. It's like very powerful on one end, but still very tied and connected. I don't think they've explained why they have so much control over him. Why they're able to tether him to a statue.
Considering there was 5 of them around the statue using their powers together, I can give them that.
I have not seen a limited deity in the MCU, so this is new. This is new ground for me. Like even the fact that, you know, Odin draws his power from Asgard, or you know well, no, I guess it's not the power cosmic, the Odin force, right? The Odin force comes from Asgard or whatever. It's like there was no, oh yeah, but if Thor and Hela go up there and they conjure together, they can steal the Odin force from you. It didn't work like that. You know what I mean? I haven't. I feel like there's more to the relationship, I guess, with those gods and Khonshu, more to the history. Because
Mhm.
why I don't know. I guess I'm wondering, why is he sneaking around so much? Why does he have to be so cunning as a god?
I guess I feel like it's because he's not limited, but it's one god versus supposedly five
Yeah,
or
but
however many there are.
that didn't even come into play. I'm saying limited in terms of needing to use an avatar to display his power. I mean, only be having a very limited power set compared to what we've seen for other deity sized threats or just beings. Ancient One, that's another one. Like, who could take power? Who could take the power away from the Ancient? Obviously, she got killed, but I'm saying, who could just, this is weird power. Let me take it. Let me just take it. Let me just take it. We're gonna conjure you back. Now she got beat. Someone
Yep.
fought her. Now, if one of them guys showed up in the sand and was like, "Hey, yo, what's up?" That's a little something different. I'm just trying to figure out why he's so. Was he depowered at some point? Is he only a shell of what he used to be? I don't. I feel like a god should have more overlapping power than just the guy with multiple personalities to
Well, that's
speak
the
through.
other thing. They did mention that he was. I don't know if the word is banished, but he was like basically kind of kicked out of the group, for lack of a better word, because of some shit that he's already done. So
Hmm.
there is that. Maybe he's not as powerful because of that
Because
situation.
of that, yeah, it's got to be something, because between him bouncing around asking Marc to do shit, and then he finally gets in front of or he starts working with the constellation, showing some actual power, and then he, that's it.
Hmm.
That's my big whoop. Now they pulling me back to the 3 foot statue in the temple.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
don't know. We'll see.
All right. So Ethan Hawke sees Khonshu entombed in stone and is told that Khonshu can hear him. That's when Ethan Hawke says, "Your torment forged me. I owe my victory to you," which is exactly what Buckeye fans plan on telling that team up north on November 26th.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
Just thought I'd throw that out there.
It's not gonna happen. But
Your torment forged me. I owe my victory to you.
mhm.
That's what I'm going to say to you when we win.
Sure. Yeah, I
All
know.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
All
Don't
right. Just
forget
thought
that
I'd
you
throw that.
said that either.
Oh, I won't because
No.
I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna bring the clip back.
Sure. I guarantee you won't.
Uh, okay.
Gu-
Guaranteeing.
Guarantee.
Okay. All right. Any thoughts on that Ethan Hawke scene at the end there?
Talking big shit. He's like,
Big
yeah,
shit.
yeah, little bitch. Yeah, 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 yeah. You in the statue now. You can't do nothing. Can't do nothing. What you gonna do now? What you gonna do, Kanchu?
Yeah, Ethan Hawke wasn't talking that big shit when Denzel was riding him around in Training
Definitely was not.
Day. Any other thoughts on Moon Knight episode 3?
Um, Again, another satisfactory episode. I want to see. I kind of want. I don't think we've seen the suit yet without CGI. Like, I want to see what the actual suit looks like in real time, like real flesh. I also, we should not see more jump cuts. We know who's involved. If there's a third personality coming in, great. Did you mention that though? Did you bring that up about the
Yeah,
third
yeah.
person?
We kind of discussed it a little
Well, we
bit.
talked about it, but did you say like why there may be a third? I don't think you ever explained
Yeah,
why.
because he was a little bit more violent than. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, there was something that happened that made us believe that there was a third person.
Yeah, because Steven couldn't remember anything that happened, and Marc couldn't remember anything that happened amongst
When?
those jump cuts.
Yeah.
Amongst
Okay.
those jump
Yeah.
cuts
Yeah.
during the
Yeah.
fights. Yeah, and it seemed that, like I said, they were a little bit more violent than either one of them would ever actually be.
I would like to see that. I would like to see it. I would like to see why they're so bewildered, because the reason why I wanted you to say that is because I missed it the first time.
I got you.
It was I didn't catch that, and I was like, they probably should have just showed us the scene to define that, to show us that, okay, that ain't Marc or Steven. How else do we
Yeah.
know that other than them saying, "Oh, I didn't." Like I literally missed it. I literally missed them saying, "Oh, I didn't know. Oh, I didn't know."
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
No, it was super glanced over, but I mean, we'll see. I do find it weird that we're already halfway through this show.
You know, and doesn't it feel like there's still so much for
Yep.
them to tell us?
Yep. Yep. Like you're going to show yet another personality, and then we still got to wrap this whole thing up. And we've seen
I still don't know
Homeboy
that much
for
about
only one
Khonshu.
episode.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
when Khonshu first inhabited Marc. We
Mogart's
haven't
only been here
seen
for one episode.
one episode, and he's probably about to be done. Haven't seen anything in terms of backstory with Khonshu and Arthur. There's so much to hit on. Plus, you
Yeah.
got gods running around all